Up everyone. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about. So, okay, to summarize, the most recent SMG4 episode, We Must Kill Mario, had quite a lot to it. And, we've got Marty, who's come back. And he's talking now. Still can't get over the fact that he's now talking. Even though it's an AI voice, I don't care. It fits the energy in that of Marty. So, we've got a lot to go through here. So I'm not going to explain what happens in the scene at all. Because why do I need to? Just go watch the episode. You know itself. You know what it is and all of that. So basically, to summarize, Marty's come back, obviously. We all know that. And, he seems to be out for vengeance this time. For the specific reason of this. Since Wattfree 2023, Mario, being himself, left Marty. Left him alone for the spaghetti. And so obviously, Marty, as we all know... hang on, let's just get through this. Spaghetti, 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 spaghetti.
The one.
So yeah, the one person I trusted the most left me behind for spaghetti. Sounds familiar. You wanna know why? For this reason. It sounds familiar because this has happened before with Mr. Puzzles in the episode tonight at SMG4's. What happened was that Mr. Puzzles lost the person he trusted the most, which was Leggy. Now, it was for a slightly different reason, because Mario turned Leggy back into Meggy. And there's some connections you can make with that, because Mr. Puzzles lost his only friend to Mario, and therefore the person he trusted the most. So did Marty. Mario left him, which means that these two characters, these two villains, Mr. Puzzles and Marty, lost something very close to them because of Mario. Mario was the main involvement and was the main cause of these two losing things. And the thing that Marty lost was Mario himself, which means something. If we go here, we see that Mr. Puzzles gets incredibly angry with Mario and he's saying, and he says he'll get Mario for what he has done. And going back to Marty's scene, and also Marty's thing is that Marty wants everyone to suffer like I have, which is also related to Mr. Puzzles, as he said he'll get all of them for what happened to Mr. Puzzles. So again, another connection there.
At the hands of the one thing you love the most.
So obviously, Marty is, gonna be after Mario as well. Because of the main reason, because he left him. Which means something. This could mean that Mr. Puzzles and Marty, obviously, I'll say now that they both have something in common. Having vengeance. They want vengeance against someone, and that someone is Mario. They want vengeance against Mario for what he has done to them. And so, it's time for me to theorize. It's very likely that means that Mario and Marty Mr. Puzzles and Marty will team up. They'll team up with each other to get vengeance on Mario. Because it just makes sense, doesn't it? Because they're both after the same thing. And so since they are, it's best for them two to team up in order to get revenge on Mario and the cast. Because Mr. Puzzles wants to get revenge on everyone, and Marty wants everyone to suffer. So again, they both want vengeance against everyone. And so, but obviously to team up. Now that's something that people like No have said, that Mr. Puzzles and Marty will team up. But I wanted to add on to this theory. So let's have a look at what the companion that Mr. Puzzles had. Leggy. Mr. Puzzles saw Leggy as his friend because of the fact that they teamed up and all of that. Which makes me wonder if Mr. Puzzles and Marty do end up teaming up. There's a certain something that Mr. Puzzles might have, which is the idea that if he wants to get vengeance on everyone, just like Marty, he might have the idea that he'll need more people. There'll be, because just the two of them, sure, they're quite powerful in themselves, but there's a lot of people that they would have to go against. And so, what do? You recruit more people. And so, the first person that Mr. Puzzles would think of to recruit would be Leggy. But then there's the problem. Leggy is Meggy, but just in a different form, which would be difficult, because how would you be able to recruit Leggy then? Because, the biggest issue is that it's making yourself. So I've come up with an idea that Mr. Puzzles might do to get Leggy back. And that is to... actually, hold on, no. Just for a moment, I want to also mention the fact that, yes, he did turn Meggy into Leggy in the SMG4 Inside Out video. But I'd like to mention that episode was most likely taking place in Mr. Puzzles' head. And because of that, it means that Mr. Puzzles can obviously do whatever the hell he wants in that place. So I don't really see that as he probably won't be able to do that in the real world at all. And so yeah, I just want to clear that bit up. So you may think then, what will he do? Well, we all know that Meggy turns into Leggy whenever she's scared. Whenever something scares her. We've seen this numerous times, and there's a whole reason why Leggy exists in the first place. So, Mr. Puzzles might already know this info, or, might find it out himself. So what would he do? Well, I think the most SMG4 villain way, which is kidnapping. Because it seems to be a lot of SMG4 villains like kidnapping. Like, seriously. Like, in every single arc in the Puzzle Vision saga, there has always been some form of kidnapping or someone getting captured in every arc. Like, seriously, it's gotta be perfect. SMG3 was captured and turned into a monster. Western Spaghetti, everyone was kidnapped. And then later on, Meggy got kidnapped again by Princess Peach. Waffy 2023, SMG4 and SMG3 were captured again from Mario Marty. Puzzle Vision, the main SMG4 cast got kidnapped and put into SMG4's head. Not SMG4, Mr. Puzzles' head. And in the meme wave, I guess we can count Leggy in a way, because in Despicable Mr. Puzzles at the very start, Mr. Puzzles did, capture Leggy and all of that. So yeah, for this 6th arc, which I'll call the Vengeance arc, Mr. Puzzles might kidnap Meggy once again, so that he can do a thing into turning Meggy into Leggy again, which will allow them to reunite and fight again. Because it just seems like the most likely thing, because who else would Mr. Puzzles recruit? Who else would do it? SMG3? Probably not. SMG4? Fuck no. So, yeah. Leggy is Mr. Puzzles' only friend, and I'm sorry for being stuck in this one frame. This looks kind of cursed now, but look at it. There you go, that's better. So yeah, I think that's like just the best person that Mr. Puzzles will go after. And now let's go back to Marty. So we may wonder, what about Marty? Because Mr. Puzzles has the idea of, possibly having the idea of having Leggy come back to help him. So what about Marty? But what if Marty gets an idea? Who else would Marty recruit? Well, let's think here. Whatever character has been sort of semi-villainous within the series and hasn't really had a main spotlight for a while. Well, I'll show you. Holy shit, the Pirates of the Caribbean outside of my hotel room just got blasted to max volume. Oh dear. Depresso. That's who I think that Marty might recruit. Now he may think, or at least Depresso might join forces with everyone else. And you may be wondering, why? Why would I think Depresso and no one else? was because Depresso has also been sort of in the same sort of shoes as Marty. In terms of, like, their role as, like, a sort of semi-villain. And so I'm just thinking that, you know, since it's another option that just makes the most sense. Now I may think, why would Depresso join them? Why? Well, it's because, one, Depresso hasn't been affected by Mr. Puzzles in any way. Meaning that Depresso doesn't have any form of grudge with Mr. Puzzles in any way. Aside from probably the creative control part when Mr. Puzzle got 5 stars. But that's for a brief moment. Besides, I doubt Depresso would know why that's happened. At all. I don't know. So, yeah, maybe one day Depresso is just trying to find any form of food he can within the bins, like he usually does. And at some point, like, maybe Marty suggests to Mr. Puzzles and Leggy that they should probably recruit Depresso, because he has, like, the power of the rats and all of that. As we saw in like, the GIF episode, we saw that Depresso is still with, well, the rats. And so, obviously, you know, that makes sense, you know? And since it was a brief appearance, like what Marty did in the aeroplane episode, he had a bit of a brief appearance, it seems possible that Depresso will come back as another villain. So, okay, so let me just think. So, like, Marty would obviously think of, like, maybe recruiting Depresso. So, how would they do it? Well, I think that either Marty or Mr. Puzzles will decide to suggest a deal to Depresso when they end up finding him, saying that, you know, that Depresso's been vexed by basically the entirety of humanity. No one wants him, and no one really likes his comedy routine. So with that in mind, Mr. Puzzles might make a deal with him. That if he helps Mr. Puzzles and Marty and Leggy help out with defeating Mario and getting, you know, revenge on him, Mr. Puzzles might think, that sounds actually pretty nice, because he doesn't exactly like the SMG4 crew and all that. And so he may think, if he helps Mr. Puzzles and Marty get their revenge on Mario, which would allow Mr. Puzzles to gain creative control over the real world again, that he would allow Marty to finally Depresso, he would finally give him the fame and, you know, acceptance that he's been wanting. That people will watch and laugh at his comedy routine again. Or at least will do. And, you know, he'll be loved by the world again. And since Depresso is so desperate to get that, he may accept that deal. Because Mr. Puzzles has always gone after people who have been desperate. SMG4 and It's Gotta Be Perfect. Ren in Western Spaghetti. Marty and Waffy. That's how I think this will work. Again, with Depresso and Mr. Puzzles. That or Marty will make the same deal. I'm not sure. But so they're like Mr. Puzzles and Leggy and Marty and Depresso, a squad. Which is why this will most likely lead into Waffy. In fact, it will lead into Waffy. Let's be honest, that's not a prediction. That's a definite confirmation, because one, it's starting to get close to Waffy, and secondly, you know, it would make sense for Waffy. There'll be, of course, this group of villains: Mr. Puzzles, Leggy, Marty and Depresso, and then the SMG4 crew. These both will fight each other into 2 groups, and will lead to Waffy. What will the Waffy be like? Would it be like 2023 or Waffy with the live stream and all that, or will it be the usual challenges thing? That's a question I can't answer to you. But that's what I'm thinking of how the Waffy will go and how this vengeance arc will start. Now, I'll say now that I don't think the vengeance arc will start now. I don't think it's starting with the most recent episode, We Must Kill Mario. I think it might come around like 2 or 3 episodes after this recent episode. That's how I think it will go. Yeah. And so that's what my theory is for Waffy 2024, on how these 4 characters will unite to try and get vengeance on Mario, and Mario specifically. And also the SMG4 crew as well, because they'll most definitely get involved. Now, there may be like some other characters that they might recruit, like SMG3 for example, as what No Null suggested, but I'm not sure. We'll just, again, have to wait and see on what happens. We're a bit early into this, but you know, since Marty's got a voice now, it's safe to say that he'll become way more relevant. And the fact that he did get away in the end of the episode. So, yeah, that's how I think everything will go. But that's all I've got to give to you. So, ta-ta!